If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description. It's that time of year again. Time for me to reevaluate my personal favorite Metroidvanias and see how the list has shifted. I've played a ton of new games this year and replayed a bunch from last year's list, and I realized something. One of my most important metrics for a great Metroidvania is something I don't actually measure in my reviews: replayability. After talking to a lot of Metroidvania enjoyers, including a lot of you who watch my stuff, I was shocked to learn how many of you never replay the games you finish. Since replayability matters a ton to me, this year's list is going to look pretty different. And I'm afraid it's not going to align with a lot of what you all value. And look, passion in this community swings both ways. Some of you love my lists, some of you hate them, and that's fine.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You're allowed to disagree, you're allowed to yell at me in the comments, but just remember, my opinion doesn't override yours. This town's big enough for the both of us. Hey, I'm the Metroidvania Guru, and this is my top 20 Metroidvanias of all time.
Number 20.
Okay, let's get this out of the way because I know someone's already typing an essay in the comments. I don't hate the Metroid franchise. I never have. If anything, Metroid is the reason this entire channel exists. But here's the part that's probably going to make a few of you pause the video and stare at your screen in disbelief. My favorite Metroid isn't Super, or Prime, or Dread. It's the original Metroid on the NES. Yeah, the messy one, the cryptic one, the one that drops you into a hostile alien maze with no map, no guidance, and no guarantee you'll even survive the first screen. But that's exactly why I love it. There's a raw, unfiltered chaos to that game, the kind you only get when a genre is being invented in real time. It feels like exploring a world that doesn't care whether you understand it or not. And for me, that combination of nostalgia and pure, unrefined ambition is Metroid at its most magical.
Number 19.
Nostalgia strikes again. I didn't grow up with the Sega Master System version of Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap. I played the absolute garbage out of the TurboGrafx 16 version. That was my entry point, and let's just say Little Luke imprinted on it. But it's the 2017 remake that earns this spot on the list. The hand-drawn art is gorgeous. The reworked animations give every transformation real personality, and the bonus stages add just enough spice to make the world feel fresh again. And the best part, one button. One button instantly swaps between the original game and the remake. It's like time traveling between childhood and adulthood on command. Dragon's Trap has always been about secrets, hidden passages, and the joy of becoming something new. The remake captures all of that and somehow makes it feel even more magical.
Number 18.
Animal Well arrived with a mountain of hype thanks to Donkey's involvement, and honestly, good for it. But here's the thing, strip away all that noise and you still have a magnificent Metroidvania. A game that doesn't need a marketing push because the design speaks for itself. Everyone talks about the secrets, the puzzles, the 4 mythical layers of completion, but I'll be real with you. I didn't care about going all the way down that rabbit hole. Layers 1 and 2 were more than enough for me, beating the game and then beating it properly with every egg in my basket. And egg hunting is where the real magic lives. That's the loop that hooked me. Quiet exploration, clever discoveries, fun tools with hidden uses, and that perfect rhythm of just one more egg until suddenly it's 2 a.m. Point is, Animal Well has a lot going on, but it doesn't need to be fully decoded to be fully enjoyed.
Number 17.
Rusted Moss grabs you instantly with its art style and world building. all moss-covered ruins, eerie fey energy, and that perfect blend of melancholy and menace. But the real star of the show is the rubber band physics of its grappling hook. It's wild, it's springy, it's unpredictable, and yeah, I know, some people absolutely cannot stand it. But here's a spoiler. You can play about 80% of the game without touching the grapple once you realize how absurdly useful your gun's recoil is. Rusted Moss quietly hands you a whole second movement system and doesn't even tell you about it until the final biome. And that's the magic. This world is truly open. Not open in the marketing sense, but open in the, if you understand the physics, you can break this game wide open sense. It rewards expert play, experimentation, and a deep understanding of the map's layout. Rusted Moss doesn't just allow sequence breaking, it celebrates it.
Number 16.
Biomorph gives us another incredibly open Metroidvania, boys, and that openness is half the fun. The world just sprawls in every direction, tantalizing you to wander off the beaten path. What really makes that freedom sing is the sheer variety of abilities you can pick up. Biomorph's big gimmick, and it's a good one, is that you can assume the forms of your fallen foes. Every enemy you defeat is basically a new tool waiting to be added to your kit, and the game constantly surprises you with how those forms can reshape your approach. And then there are the side quests. So many side quests. Rewarding, clever, beautifully distracting side quests that send you bouncing all over the map like a caffeinated pinball. In a world this open, it's almost impossible to stay focused, which is part of the charm.
Number 15.
I've been a huge fan of Kyle Thompson's work for years, but Islets is his current magnum opus, the game where all his strengths are fully realized. You get that unmistakable Kyle Thompson charm, the distinct art style, the quirky characters, the fun, funny writing, and genuine heart. And all of it is held together by Eric Thompson's incredible score, the glue that makes this world feel alive. Gameplay-wise, Islets is a buffet. You've got bullet hell battles that keep you on your toes, shoot 'em up sections against sky pirates, and even roguelike style randomized progression that keeps each playthrough feeling fresh. But the real magic is the world itself. The whole map is built around activating giant magnets to pull floating islands back together, and every new connection reshapes the world, opening new paths, shortcuts, and revealing secrets. Islets is charming, clever, creative, and brilliant.
Number 14.
Few Metroidvanias wear their personality on their sleeve quite like Guacamelee. You get this explosion of hand-drawn art, a vibrant Mexican motif, and a non-stop parade of humor and video game references, even if some folks think the meme jokes went a little too far. But underneath all that style is a combat system built on pure joy. Wrestling-based moves that let you suplex, pile drive, and straight up yeet skeletons across the screen. And then there's the dimension swapping mechanic, one of the smartest ideas in the genre. It turns both combat and platforming into these fast, brain-bending challenges where timing, positioning, and observation will determine your success. By the time you hit Guacamelee 2, the team brilliantly doubles down on the absurdity. The chicken form returns, but this time with full combat capabilities. Suddenly you're a poultry-based powerhouse, dive-kicking enemies and chaining combos like it's the most natural thing in the world. Guacamelee isn't just funny. It's fast, creative, and ridiculously fun. A pair of games that prove style and substance can make for an exceptional tag team.
Number 13.
We're moving from a double pack of games loved for their goofiness to a double pack revered for their melancholy and macabre. The Blasphemous games are simultaneously the worst and best things to look at. On one hand, the screen is full of grotesque abominations that make you physically recoil. But on the other, the pixel art mastery is so jaw-dropping you can't help but stare. It's horrifying, but it's beautiful. A visual contradiction that defines the entire experience. Both games draw heavily from religious imagery, weaving symbolism, ritual, and penance into every corner of their worlds. And the challenge? brutal, unforgiving. The kind of handcrafted difficulty that tests your patience and your faith. Now, some people argue the first Blasphemous isn't a Metroidvania because it lacks traditional traversal upgrades and utility gates. But here's the secret. It becomes a Metroidvania if you play it like a Metroidvania. You explore, you uncover secret items that manipulate the environment, you find secrets beneath secrets. Blasphemous is a Metroidvania that only reveals itself as a Metroidvania if you approach it like it's a Metroidvania. It's incredibly clever. But hey, if you still don't buy that, Blasphemous 2 has you covered. It goes full Metroidvania, complete with traversal abilities and 3 swappable weapons that double as movement tools. It's bigger, smoother, and even more intricate. A sequel that embraces the genre with open, blood-soaked arms.
Number 12.
I've always had a soft spot for Igavanias. All the Castlevania games with Koji Igarashi steering the ship. He's the mind who fused light RPG elements into the Metroid formula. XP and leveling, item usage, gear, and, most importantly, the idea that the true ending wasn't just a reward for beating the game fast enough to see the protagonist in a bikini. Though, I'm sure plenty of you out there wouldn't mind seeing Alucard in skimpy swimwear. Igavanias are endlessly replayable thanks to their fun combat, excellent music, gothic atmosphere, and those addicting luck-based mechanics that make each run special. But if I have to pick a favorite, it's always going to be Aria of Sorrow. Not only did Aria somehow refine everything Symphony did, on inferior hardware no less, it delivered a story full of lore-defining twists and introduced one of the greatest mechanics in Metroidvania history, the tactical soul system. Suddenly, every enemy encounter becomes a slot machine, spitting out everything from stat boosts to game-breaking abilities. Too bad the drop rates feel like a real casino where the house always wins. Regardless, Igavanias are pure joy, and they laid down the foundation of the genre we love today.
Number 11.
Voidrot sinks its claws into you from the very first frame. The creepy atmosphere and hand-drawn graphics give the world this unsettling, organic texture, like every wall is breathing, every shadow is watching. And the music? Absolutely phenomenal. The ambient tracks pull you deeper into the gloom, and the adrenaline-pumping boss themes hit with the force of a panic attack. But what really sets Voidrot apart is its exceptional openness. This is a truly non-linear Metroidvania, the kind where exploration feels like a personal journey rather than a guided tour. When I played it at launch, I realized quickly that no two people were having the same experience. Everyone I talked to had unlocked different areas in different orders, discovered secrets I hadn't even brushed against, and fought bosses I didn't know existed yet. It genuinely felt like we were all playing different versions of the same game. Voidrot rewards curiosity, experimentation, and a willingness to get lost, and in a genre built on discovery, that's about as good as it gets.
Number 10.
I can already hear it. The Last Faith is just Bloodborne mixed with Blasphemous. But is that a bad thing? I thought we liked those games. If you're going to borrow inspiration, you might as well borrow from the best. Lord knows we already have a billion Hollow Knight clones. Now, I'll be the first to admit, The Last Faith had a rough launch. The starting classes didn't really reflect what they were supposed to do, and the Switch port was practically unplayable, with poor technical performance that dipped frame rates into single digits. But after some much needed TLC over the years, the game is in a far better state, which is great, because underneath the issues was always an amazing Soulsvania waiting to kick the crap out of you. You get all the Souls classic trappings, leveling, gear that scales with your stats, corpse running, and that deliberate, weighty combat where every strike feels visceral and satisfying. The story can be a bit slippery if you're not reading every note and item description, but the atmosphere and creature designs do more than enough to pull you in. And the bosses? Savage. Absolutely punishing. But honestly, would you expect anything less from a game wearing its inspirations this proudly? The Loud Faith may have stumbled at the start, But today, it stands tall, a dark, stylish, and fiercely rewarding entry in the genre. And with DLC coming in January of 2026, you can bet I'm counting the days until the ancients awaken.
Number 9.
Astalon Tears of the Earth is a very special kind of Metroidvania. The kind that does something Metroidvanias probably shouldn't, yet somehow makes it work. When you die in Astalon, you don't respawn at a checkpoint or a save room. You go all the way back to the beginning of the game. At first glance, it feels almost roguelike, but your progression doesn't reset. Bosses you've defeated stay dead, shortcuts stay open, and doors stay unlocked. It's just you who has to make the trek back. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain early on, but eventually you unlock fast travel, and suddenly the whole structure clicks. And death stops feeling punishing once you realize you can permanently level up your characters between runs. It taps into that same addictive loop that makes roguelikes so hard to put down, but without the randomness or the need to replay the entire game from scratch. And the game itself is excellent. The way colored keys can open any door of the same color, no matter the biome, leads to clever shortcuts and surprising discoveries. The single screen room design makes parsing information quick and satisfying, and the fact that you can swap between 3 different characters, each with their own abilities, gives the exploration a strategic rhythm you don't see often. Astalon is one of the most boldly designed Metroidvanias out there, and thankfully, it works, creating a striking retro-inspired experience.
Number 8.
Every good top 20 list needs a dark horse entry, and for me, that's Tozuo and Knight, Order of the Alchemists. This game was developed by one guy, and the fact that it released recently and still muscled its way onto this list should tell you exactly how good it is. The art style is a love letter to the DS-era Castlevania games, and the challenge, especially at launch, was intense enough to satisfy any Retrohead or Souls fan looking for a fight. Personally, I recommend playing on easy. Trust me, it's still more than enough of a workout. But what makes this relatively new, relatively unknown Metroidvania so special isn't just the retro look, or the entertaining combat, or the fun boss fights. It's the exploration, the sense of intrigue baked into every corner of the map. Tozuo and Knight loves giving you dead ends, watching you squirm, and daring you to figure out how to get yourself unstuck. So many times you'll be missing just one thing, and when you finally find it, the world opens up like you just pulled a lever on a floodgate. This is a game that expects you to get lost and trusts you to find your way with almost no hand-holding. And it's those constant aha moments, the ones that send you sprinting across the map with renewed purpose, that make Tozuo and Knight so addicting.
Number 7.
Megami Games has done it again, and this time, they're getting paid for it. These are the folks who built a reputation on some of the best Castlevania fan games ever made, and with Chronicles of the Wolf, it feels like Konami should be the ones taking notes. This is a fully realized, modern-day Simon's Quest, the version of the game we all imagined in our heads back in the day. It starts with a semi-linear structure, easing you in before opening up into a full-blown investigation packed with backtracking, secrets, and cryptic clues. And just when you think you've seen everything, the game unveils one of the best castles the genre has ever offered. Sprawling, atmospheric, and ridiculously fun to explore. And even that isn't the end, if you can believe it. But I'm not going to spoil it for you. Now, I get the criticisms. The gameplay and combat can feel stiff, and the UI definitely isn't winning any awards. But if you grew up in the era this game is channeling, these are tiny trifles compared to what it delivers. And the puzzles? I adore them. All the cryptic riddles, the obscure clues, the moments where you finally piece something together and feel like a genius, that's the good stuff. And if you want to progress, you better have your thinking cap equipped. Chronicles of the Wolf is a treasure for anyone who loves old school design, and if you're not deterred by its strict retro sensibilities, this game absolutely has it all.
Number 6.
In Ghost Song, the atmosphere does a lot of heavy lifting. The hand-drawn environments feel lonely and alien, and the exceptional sound design pulls you deeper into Lorien's surface with every echo, hum, squelch, and claw scraping against the cave's craggy surfaces. The music is dang near transcendent, melodic, spacey, and instantly recognizable, giving the game a personality that sticks with you long after you stop playing. What really surprised me, though, was how much I fell in love with the voice acting, the characters, and the writing. Everything feels alive and grounded, which is impressive in a game that starts out so isolating. Even combat has its own clever twist. You shoot to overheat your arm cannon, and when it overheats, your melee attacks get stronger. It's such a cool risk-reward mechanic that keeps every encounter tense. And just when you think you've learned a path or mastered an area, Ghost Song throws something unexpected at you. Bounty hunters, strange events, little surprises that pop out of nowhere. It keeps the world feeling unpredictable, like it's shifting behind your back. From beginning to end, Blue's Journey hits me in the feels every single time I boot it up. It's equal parts eerie and emotional.
Number 5.
Death's Gambit launched as an okay Souls-like, ambitious, stylish, but held back by less than responsive controls and an abrupt, unsatisfying ending that left a lot of players cold. It had potential, but it didn't quite land. Then, a few years later, White Rabbit came back swinging with the Afterlife expansion, and the transformation was unbelievable. Suddenly, we had new weapons, new bosses, new biomes, and, most importantly, the game was reworked into an honest-to-God Metroidvania. Death's Gambit went from a curiosity to one of the best Soulsvanias in the genre. The comeback didn't stop there. Afterlife added new classes, subclasses, and a far more fleshed out story with narrative beats that finally deliver on the promise of the title. For the first time, the world, the lore, and the themes all locked together in a way that felt intentional and satisfying. Death's Gambit Afterlife isn't just an update. It's one of the most dramatic glow-ups the genre has ever seen. If you're down for tough combat and general Soulsvania shenanigans, DGA should be in your library.
Number 4.
Nine Souls feels like it was engineered in a lab specifically for people who love precision, bold atmospheres, and world building that sticks to your ribs. The game blends Dowpunk aesthetics with a disturbing and decaying sci-fi world, creating a setting that brilliantly mixes ancient and futuristic. Combat's the star of the show, a razor-sharp mix of Sekiro-style parries and deliberate 2D action that rewards timing, patience, and nerves of steel. Every encounter feels like a duel, and every victory feels earned. But it's not just about fighting. The game's exploration is rich, layered, and full of secrets that make you want to poke into every forgotten corner. And I'd also like to say that Nine Souls is far less linear than people give it credit for. There are all kinds of branching paths players can take to do things out of sequence. The dev team is just really good at guiding players. But where the team hits the hardest is in their storytelling. Through environmental clues, character moments, and beautiful comic book-esque sequences, Nine Souls builds a world full of tragedy, rebellion, and hope. It's a narrative that lingers long after the credits roll. Nine Souls is stylish, confident, challenging, and memorable. A game that proves the Metroidvania genre can be a place where emotional tales can be told.
Number 3.
Salt and Sanctuary is a 2D Souls-like that didn't just imitate the Dark Souls formula. It translated it beautifully into a side-scrolling Metroidvania framework, creating the blueprint for all the Soulsvanias that followed. Its world feels bleak, oppressive, yet strangely serene, wrapped in Ska Studio's signature hand-drawn, sketch-shaded art style that makes every island, crypt, and fortress feel like it was carved out of charcoal and nightmares. The character designs were definitely carved out of nightmares. Combat is SNES's bread and butter. It's deliberate, weighty, and punishing in all the ways Souls fans crave. You've got build variety, gear scaling, stamina management, and an absurdly sprawling skill tree that lets you sculpt your character into whatever flavor of monster slayer you want. And the bosses, for what they lack in challenge, they make up for in numbers. There are a ton of bosses in SNS, and while some are undoubtedly tougher than others, slaying demands patience, pattern recognition, and a willingness to get knocked down again and again. But what pushes Salt and Sanctuary into Metroidvania territory is the exploration. The island loops back on itself with clever shortcuts, hidden paths, and traversal tools that slowly peel open the world. It's that perfect blend of oppression and discovery where every new route feels like a small victory against the darkness. And though the game doesn't have an in-game map, a mortal sin for the genre, the game instead creates an unforgettable world that doesn't require a map. It's an interesting paradox that few games can actually pull off. Salt and Sanctuary is grim, challenging, and endlessly rewarding. A game that proved the Souls formula could thrive in 2D without losing an ounce of its bite.
Number 2.
After Image is one of the most visually stunning Metroidvanias of the last decade. A hand-painted dream world overflowing with lush environments, vibrant colors, and gorgeous animations that makes every screen feel like a living watercolor. It's the kind of game where you stop mid-platform just to admire the scenery because the art direction is that breathtaking. But beneath the beauty is a surprisingly dense, open-ended world that encourages exploration in every direction. The map sprawls out into twisting caverns, floating ruins, and ancient forests, each packed with secrets, optional bosses, and hidden routes that reward curiosity. And combat is fast, fluid, and crunchy, a mix of melee, magic, and mobility that keeps every encounter engaging, though a dodge with iframes a little sooner in the adventure would have been nice. What really elevates After Image is its sense of scale. The world is huge, almost overwhelming at first, and the story leans into mystery and melancholy, delivered through atmospheric moments and cryptic lore that slowly piece together what happened in this fallen world and its amnesiac heroine trying to make sense of it. It genuinely is an interesting tale, just not one delivered in the most efficient way. It's not uncommon for people to complete the game and not know what even happened. Regardless, After Image is a feast for the eyes, a playground for explorers, and a reminder that the genre still has room for big, beautiful adventures. A Metroidvania for Metroidvania fans.
Number 1.
To the surprise of no one, Ender Lilies is still my favorite Metroidvania of all time. I just replayed it with my youngest daughter, and I had just as much fun, if not more fun, with this playthrough as I've had with any playthrough I've had with the game. Ender Lilies is one of the most hauntingly beautiful Metroidvanias out there, a somber fairy tale wrapped in hand-painted melancholy. The music by Millie is breathtaking, a soft, mournful soundtrack that carries you through the sorrow of a kingdom drowned in blight. And combat? A brilliant twist on the formula, letting you summon purified spirits as your weapons, turning every boss you defeat into a new tool in your arsenal. What really makes Ender Lilies special is the emotional weight behind every discovery and every battle. The world is open, interconnected, and full of quiet tragedies waiting to be uncovered. It's easy to say it's made an impression on me. Then comes Ender Magnolia, the follow-up that took all of Ender Lilies' mechanics and made them better. The world is bigger, the traversal is smoother, and the combat system evolves with new homoculi companions that deepen your strategy with cooldowns instead of charges and limited use. Magnolia keeps the same ethereal atmosphere but adds layers of mystery and mechanical depth, proving this universe still has so much more to say. Together, Ender Lilies and Ender Magnolia form an amazing duet, melancholic, elegant, and special. Of course, both games are brilliant, but I still feel Ender Lilies is the stronger game. Magnolia improved on everything mechanically, but Lily's narrative and atmosphere is still the best, in my humble opinion. And there you go, my personal top 20 Metroidvanias. Feel free to tell me what your favorite MVs are. Or scream at me in the comments and tell me how illegitimate my list is or how contrarian I am because I didn't include the Hollow Knight games. I'm genuinely happy you find so much joy in that series. I just find them to be very boring on replays. Lord knows I try to like them. If you enjoyed this list, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more Metroidvania content, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, later nerds.